Hello students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are finding my lectures very helpful and you are enjoying too. As I'm giving you lectures on English language skills, so you can improve English language skills when you are watching my videos, you are finding my lectures and you are improving your skills. Step by step, I'm going to give you different lectures to make you a good speaker and good writer too. Here you can find different lectures on speaking and writing too. Different playlists I have made for you. You can find out writing skills separately and the speaking skills separately. After finding this playlist, you can improve your writing skills, and our today topic is poetry writing. It's very interesting topic, poetry writing. You can create your writing with the help of poetry writing. It's very creative topic. Before starting the lesson, I will mention here if you want to book your live lessons with me to have a wonderful experience and to learn your English language with daily practice, you can book your lesson with me. You can contact me in comments and you can also send me an email to contact me, and email that you can find in description. First of all, we have the first question, what is poetry writing? This is very first question which will come in our mind. What is poetry writing? So let's have a look on poetry writing. Poetry writing is a form of artistic expression where language is used in a structured and imaginative way to evoke emotions, paint vivid images, and convey complex ideas. Unlike prose, which typically follows grammatical rules and narrative conventions, poetry often employ unique forms, rhythms, and techniques to create its effect. So here you find that this is the expression of your imaginations, your feelings in the form of poems. And in other languages, we are creating different forms of writing by using grammatical rules, narrative conventions, but in poetry, we are expressing our emotions. And what do poets? Poets play with rhythm, meter, line breaks, and symbolism to craft their work. Poetry can take many forms, including sonnet, haikus, free verse, and spoken words, each with its own set of rules or lack thereof. Ultimately, poetry writing is a deeply personal and creative process that allows individuals to explore themes, emotions, and perspectives in a condensed and powerful manner. So I hope after reading these two slides, you can come to know that what is a poetry writing. Now you are clear about that. Now we will talk about different forms of poetry. Poetry writing is a lengthy process and there can be different lectures on poetry writing too. But first of all, we will just understand what is poetry and what are the forms of poetry. How you will write down poetry, how you can pick your imaginations from a simple picture to make a poetry, to write a poetry, how which forms you are following and how you will use them. This is a lengthy process and we will discuss inshallah in our next lessons too. So here are the forms of poetry. There are different forms of poetry, like we can give name to that forms, like sonnet, free verse, ballad, ode, ghazal, pantone, sestina, villanelle, limerick, and haiku. Now we will discuss all these forms step by step in detail. First of all, we will discuss sonnet. A 14-line poem is usually written in iambic pentameter with a specific rhyme scheme, such as the Shakespearean or the Petrarchan. These are the rhyming schemes. First of all, we will look at the Shakespearean rhyming scheme. This is A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. And what is Petrarchan? This is A B B A A B B A C D C D C and D. Okay, you will follow this rhyming scheme when you are writing sonnet. So, next form of poem is free verse. Poetry that doesn't adhere to a specific rhyming scheme, meter, or structure. This is the free verse form of poetry. It allows for greater flexibility and experimentation with language and form. So, let's move next form. This is ballad, a narrative poem often set to music with alternating lines of iambic tetrameter or trimeter. Ballads typically tell a story, often of folklore or legend. So you can find difference in the forms of poetry. In this way, you can learn that what are these forms of poetry. Next one is ode, a lyrical poem that celebrates a person, event, or object. Odes often have a formal structure and elevated language. We will surely discuss the differences with the examples of poems too. Then you would be more clear about the forms of poetry. These are the just definitions and understanding of all the forms of poems. Next one is ghazal, a form originating in Arabic poetry consisting of couplets with a repeated refrain and a rhyming scheme. Ghazals often explore themes of love, loss, and longing. So let's move toward our next form of poem. Pentaum, a form with a specific structure where the second and fourth lines of each stanza become the first and the third lines of the next stanza. I hope you are understanding my point. The poem ends with the first and the third lines of the first stanza as the final stanza's second and fourth lines. You can memorize these definitions too. Okay, next definition, next form of poem is with its definition is here sestina, a complex form consisting of six stanzas of six lines, each followed by a three-line stanza. The end words of first stanza are repeated in a specific pattern throughout the poem. Next form of poem is villanelle, a 19-line poem with a specific rhyme scheme. What is the specific rhyme scheme? ABA, 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 ABAA. Okay, this is the specific rhyming scheme which is followed in this form of the poetry. And a repeated refrain. It typically consists of 5 tercets followed by a quatrain. Okay, next form of poem is limerick, a humorous poem with 5 lines. A rhyme scheme is usually AABBA with a specific rhythm and meter. You can take notes of all these forms too. It's very helpful and very informative. Next form is haiku, a traditional Japanese form consisting of 3 lines with a syllable pattern of 575. Haikus often focus on nature or a fleeting moment. That's all for today lesson. I hope you are getting my point and you enjoyed this lesson. In our next lesson, inshallah, we will discuss about all these forms with examples of poems. When you will found all these forms with poetry, practical poetry, then you can come to know about the hidden points too, and you would be very clear about these points. So, inshallah, in our next lesson, we will meet again with a new topic. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.